Dear colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to be your host today in Ohrid at the formal ministerial meeting as a final event of our chairmanship to the Southeast European cooperation process. Allow me to express the satisfaction with the opportunity we are present today to meet each other here and to build upon our continuous exchange of views. Before the adoption of today's agenda, I would like to welcome Mr. Selimi as special guest of the chair. Thank you all for the support to invite him as a guest. Also, I would like to inform that Mr. Hoxha sent me a letter where he officially announced Kosovo's interest in membership of the SCCP. Based on the Charter and Foundation SCCP documents, such decisions could be taken only by consensus of all participating states. Since all inclusiveness is one of the principles of the SCCP, further discussion on this issue is needed. On the second point, adoption of today's agenda. Today's agenda meeting has been circulated previously. Any comments on the agenda? Please, Ambassador.
Mr. Chairman, Greece can accept the agenda provided the reservation in the language noted. We accept or can concur with the content of the substance. I understand there is going to be a reformulation of the language, so we can accept that revised form of the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other comments, agenda? No? Let me conclude that the agenda has been adopted. Agenda item 3, the report of the chairmanship in office, circulated in written form. It has been already circulated to all delegations. We can adopt it. Agenda item 4, overview of the current situation and perspectives of the EU enlargement process of the region. Exchange of views. The idea is that we give 5 to 7 minutes to each delegation in order to be able to be on time. I will start with my address. Honorable Commissioner Füle, distinguished colleagues, Excellencies. I would wish to welcome you here in Ohrid and welcome this formal meeting of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Southeast European Cooperation Process. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be your host. Your presence today confirms that we are witnessing a remarkable momentum in our region. This is another opportunity to reaffirm our commitments and intensify our endeavors for the benefits of the future of our generations. Therefore, I believe our sincere talks and deliberations today will make a significant contribution to our enhanced regional cooperation. In the past 17 years, our region has experienced fundamental political, economic, social and cultural exchange. We have faced many demanding situations. However, we have also looked for opportunities to find solutions. In the past 2 decades, there are significant reforms that have been undertaken in the entire region. I believe that all of us ensure that reforms aimed at consolidating democracy, the rule of law and human rights will continue. We also need to stand together strong and support each other whenever necessary. The SCCP framework has encouraged us to do so, to preserve our stability and advance our prosperity. Dear guests, the Republic of Macedonia is holding for the 2nd time the SCCP chairmanship. We can now see a tremendous change in the region. 12 years ago, when we chaired this forum, only 1 participating state was a member of the European Union and only 2 were members of NATO. Today, at this table here, 4 SCCP participating states are already EU members, and in a month, Croatia will be the 5th SCCP state joining the EU family. 7 are already NATO member states. This fact is a strong evidence that our endeavors for becoming part of EU and NATO are consistent and untiring. Therefore, our vision for the future can be achieved first if we get closer and become reliable neighbors. And second, if we recognize that we should learn from the past while creating strong prospects for a better tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, as the current SECP chair in office, we have strived to strengthen and deepen regional cooperation, and we pave our way to European and Euro-Atlantic integration. As you may know, this year the Republic of Macedonia is commemorating 50 years of the disastrous Skopje earthquake, which destroyed the entire city back in 1963. The international solidarity of 50 years ago is still very much present today and is a strong element of our regional cooperation. In this context, the spirit of solidarity has prevailed in building stronger ties of cooperation among us. We have decided to call upon solidarity and unity in the region. Therefore, we have chosen solidarity in action as a motto of our chairmanship. I am particularly glad that during the Macedonian SECP chairmanship we have intensively worked on disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation in the region. Climate change and disaster risk are a reality of today, but also a real threat for the future. Today's joint statement addresses these two subjects and offers relevant conclusions. Furthermore, I am particularly pleased that at their 10th conference here in Ohrid, the speakers of the parliaments from the SECP have come to a decision to establish a parliamentary assembly. We see this decision as a major step in developing the SECP parliamentary dimension, which is one of the important pillars of our cooperation. I expressed my appreciation for the efforts made in this respect 3 days ago. Dear colleagues, the region is coming closer to the European Union. As the Irish EU Minister, Lucinda Creighton, and Commissioner Füle have said, this year is full of opportunities for enlargement. I do share this vision. Last Friday in Dublin, we marked the 10th anniversary of the Thessaloniki Agenda. 10 years since the EU members expressed their commitment according to which the future of the Balkans is within the EU. In Dublin, we concluded that the enlargement process will not be complete before the admission to membership of the entire Balkans. Today here in Ohrid I would like to reconvey the message that the Thessaloniki Agenda needs to be transformed into an action. Aspirants as well as member states need to pursue efforts on this road. Dear colleagues, we share the joy with our Croatian friends that are due to join the European Union on the 1st of July. This confirms that the enlargement process has been and continues to be a success story for the Europe as a whole. In this context, our expectations from Croatia as an EU enlargement supporter have become ever greater. In April, Belgrade and Pristina achieved a historic agreement. Both sides came to an agreement on the basis of their political will and ability to make compromise. As the saying goes, it takes two to tango. Therefore, the reached agreement and its implementation should encourage positive June Council conclusions for both sides. Our expectations are in favor of Serbia's opening accession negotiations with the European Union and Kosovo's opening of the Stabilization and Association Agreement. We follow Montenegro's accession negotiations with appreciation, while at the same time they are an additional encouragement for the region. We expect that the Republic of Albania will be granted a candidate status and that Bosnia and Herzegovina will succeed in submitting its EU membership application. We praise Turkey's continuous reforms and believe in the acceleration of the accession negotiations process with the EU. The recent visit of the President of the European Council, Van Rompuy, to Turkey confirms that relations between EU and Turkey are of great importance for the EU, for Turkey, and for the region as well. In addition, I would like to emphasize that Turkey's role in the region and its active involvement deserve particular acknowledgement. We also encourage Moldova in its EU integration process. Ladies and gentlemen, the Republic of Macedonia has been an EU member candidate country for 8 years now. The time has come when the step forward will be more than welcome. Let me recall you the last spring report, which notes the progress my country has made in the EU reform agenda and in good neighbourly relations. In addition, the resolution on Macedonia's progress in 2012, voted last week in the European Parliament, clearly urges the European Council to launch accession negotiations in June. As of all of us are responsible for shaping the future. We are open and dedicated to building partnerships, to to discussing our common issues and to further deepen good neighborly relations. In the case of Macedonia, I would refer to the considerations of the rapporteur Richard Howitt at a debate in the European Parliament. He said, "Do you understand that when you're in a queue and find yourself continually pushed past, getting further and further from the front, then at some point you will walk away from the queue altogether." Two things are quite important for this. Richard is right, based on life experience. Two, we are very persistent and very dedicated people, and we know how important the credible EU path is to all of us, and this is why we're going to continue on that road. Dear colleagues, I appreciate the contributions to fulfilling our program made by the previous RCC Secretary General, Mr. Hido Biščević, and of course of the new RCC Secretary General, Mr. Goran Svilanović, during the past year and the period that is laying ahead of us. As the chairman in office, I would say that the relations and ties between SCCP and the RCC have become stronger. The regular meetings of the SCCP Troika, the RCC and the European Union have contributed in this respect. However, there are certainly possibilities to further strengthen the synergies between us. I am glad that finally under the SCE 2020, the job-creating, growth and EU integration strategy, we will be able to streamline the regional initiatives. This should be seen as a successful result of the RCC endeavors. We have a common vision, common action is now needed. Another example of our success is that during the Macedonian SCCP chairmanship, we all decided for full participation of Kosovo in the Regional Cooperation Council. This is a significant process for all of us, which is acknowledged by the European Union. After all, the RCC and the SCCP shape all-inclusiveness as one of their guiding principles. Dear colleagues, speaking of the SCCP, the time has come to search for more effective ways for enhanced regional cooperation within this process. I am glad that 2 days ago the SCCP political directors agreed to establish an ad hoc expert group to exchange views and to make concrete proposals on the best modalities to make the cooperation with SCCP more effective and result-oriented. This expert group will work under the coordination of the chairmanship in office and will present its conclusions and proposals to the SCCP political directors for further consideration by the SCCP members. Dear colleagues, I am strongly convinced that the need to strengthen democracy and boosting the prosperity of our region make it even clearer. The SCCP remains indeed a relevant political forum. Last but not least, allow me to share my final considerations. Building on the achievements of the past 17 years, the SCCP countries need to come even closer together and strengthen their ties. We should fulfill our shared vision for our European and Euro-Atlantic integration. However, this vision we share has a bearing on our future generations as well. Thank you for your kind attention, and once again, very warm welcome to Ohrid, and I would like to give the floor to my distinguished colleagues.
Thanks for coming to all of you. Great pleasure having you here. I know that we will enjoy both breakfast and discussion. Cut the long story short.